問い合わせをいただくグリフィス大学の観光学部なんですけれども、皆さんいろいろ質問あると思うんですね。今日は教授にいろいろな質問を思います。
I would like to ask you about maybe your background, where you came from, your impact.
Joining Griffith, actually this is almost my 11th year at Griffith. And I started as an international student myself.
Wow.
Yeah. So I originally come back from Jordan in the Middle East. Yeah, so I got a scholarship to join Griffith to continue my PhD. My master's and my undergraduate was in marketing.
Okay.
Yes, and then I wanted to pursue a degree, a PhD degree in hospitality and tourism, mainly looking at sustainable practices in hotels. Why did I choose this? Because I thought literally when you think about tourism and hospitality, it creates a lot of benefits for destinations. You look at economic benefits, you look at well-being, the community, and you look at as well as the cultural aspect, the heritage. But at the same time, if it's not sustainable, and if you don't really think about the visitors and the community, you would have a problem. So that's why I wanted to study and pursue a degree in hospitality and tourism.
The idea. How do you choose?
For me, I like to do applied research. I like to choose a topic that will have an impact. So for example, one of the topics that I focus on is green hotels and how to impact visitors to choose a green hotel or be engaged in green practices when they go in their vacations. So this is a very, I want to say, topical, I want to say, issue that people will think whenever I go to a hotel. Should I really think about the environment or should I just think about my comfort, my luxury? So for example, this is one of the topics that I have been focusing on for the last 10 years. And it has opened new aspects. So I started looking at the customers, and then I started looking at the employees' engagement in green practices in hotels. And then I'm now moving to look at the management perspective to build a holistic approach about all of these different perspectives and how can we work together to create these sustainable practices.
What?
First of all, I don't consider myself as an instructor or a lecturer or a teacher. I look at myself as a facilitator where me and my students, we co-create knowledge. I would ask you, for example, you would have traveled at least last year to somewhere. So there's a story that you can bring and there's another story that another student can bring. So we all co-create that knowledge together rather than me just giving the theory and then saying this is how it is practiced. What the great thing about our department is we have too many links with the industry. And this is again the idea of co-creation of knowledge. For students in hospitality and tourism, I think they need to be adaptable, they need to be flexible, and they need to be curious. If you work in this industry, you're not going to be sitting in an office not dealing with anyone. You're dealing with tourists who come from different countries, different perspectives, different cultures. So you need to accept that and you need to deal with that. You need to put studies as a priority. And I know this is what every student would do. But in Australia, I want to say, and in my classes, the thing that you need to focus on is critical thinking. So you don't take things for face value, but actually you need to take it to the next level. You need to think about strategic thinking. You need to think about how can I change things. For us, actually, in few courses, you would find assessments as exams. But most of these assessments are things that you need to research. You need to look for evidence. And you need to link it to how you understood the content of the whole, I want to say, courses that are covered. So it's a different way of covering and building that knowledge, kind of practical, kind of, again, a future forward thinking, rather than just learning things and showing that I understand things. I start my course by saying that no question is a stupid question, and I need everyone to be engaged. Other than that, you're not going to learn anything. And attendance is very important. And the other thing is that I focus on students who are learning in different ways. Your way of learning is different from my way of learning.
Mhm.
I might be learning through reading, you might be learning through engaging, through talking to others, through visual aids, whatever it is. So I work with the students, I'm not going to say individually, but with their different needs,
Mhm.
and I work around that. So that's why we
Okay.
have different activities in class
Mhm.
where I kind of push the students behind their comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I would say, even if you are an international student, this is how I start my class and say, English is not my first language. You might not understand me. If at any point you want me to repeat anything, just ask me. And in this way, I extend to them
Yeah.
that way that I can be mistaken or I might not elaborate in the right way, but I'm still doing it. And I expect the same.
Why do you think?
The first reason is research. I'm just talking about our department, the hospitality and tourism. You are in a place where research is being, again, co-created and developed every day.
Wow.
And it's really linked to everyday problems and solutions. It's a research culture. The second thing I want to talk about is, again, when you are in a university that is acknowledged for being top in that area, this is an advantage because it will impact your experience as a student when you are in that environment. And the other thing, when you go and apply for jobs, you are applying as a student from a university that is ranked highly in that domain. The other thing that I want to talk about is our linkage with the industry. So this is another very strong point of view because, again, we're not only bringing knowledge out of research, but also out of our connections with the industry and how that builds on just for the students, just to go and navigate through our industry connections, but at the same time learning from case studies from the industry. Yeah.
I actually remember because I do talk to my students, came up with the marketing plan for the actual hotels and resort.
So this is part of our actual assessment is coming with a marketing plan for a hotel for a specific event. And actually some of the students would say, wow, so I'm not doing an exam to pass this course. I'm actually doing something very practical. So there's a bit of practicality even in the assessments. And the other thing, a lot of, like in our degrees, there is one or two, I want to say, courses that are mandatory where you need to go and spend time with the industry, with an industry partner, and work with them and report on that experience and what you learned from it. And a lot of students have been actually offered jobs following that internship. So this is another great, I want to say, advantage for the students.